Welcome back to the Real Estate Den. This is episode 12. My name is Megan, coming to you from the San Luis Valley. We have, as always, with me Amanda, and today we have Leighann and Nick for some awesome real estate conversations today. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, appreciate it. Excited to be here.
Great. So we'll just get right into this. So Nick, tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Totally. So my name is Nick White. I am a loan officer with a company called Megastar Financial. We're based in Cap Hill. I am originally from the great state of New Hampshire. Spent the first, 24 years of my life there, and recently relocated to Colorado in the summer. So always wanted to move here and be a part of the real estate world here. So made that happen last summer, and here I am.
Is that when you got your lending license?
No, I've been in the mortgage business for 3 years now.
Okay. Awesome. And Leighann, tell us about you, where you're from, and what you do.
Sure. So I'm Leighann Marquiss, and I am living in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I am flipping houses. We've been in Pittsburgh for 12 years. I've been flipping for about 5. Do not have a real estate license. Really just kind of fell into it because a friend wanted to try it, and I am a yes person. And I've always loved real estate. I've always, even from the time my husband and I have been married, almost 28 years, we've always gone to open houses on Sundays as kind of a fun thing to do. We're those people who are signing the sheets but not really buying. So when it came to flipping, we also are like consummate movers. Like even when we stay in one area, we always moved from house to house. So when it came to flipping, I'm always just kind of looking at what a buyer wants from my perspective. And so it just kind of came naturally to my personality, to my life with, raising 4 kids, needed something that was flexible. So flipping houses here in the state of PA.
That's great. So you started flipping 5 years ago. What did you do before then?
Yeah, so I have a writing background. So I have a couple of books out there, not bestsellers, but they are meaningful to me. And certified life coach, which has helped me a lot in flipping houses. I coach myself often when I'm having a panic attack at night about a house that I bought that smells like cat pee with sidewalks falling off of them, and just kind of keeping an open mind and growth mindset. So that's my background. And I still do coach clients as they come along, just a resilience coach. I've had a lot of trauma and different things in my background that helps me help other people and come alongside them when they are going through something difficult.
I can't think of anything better to have a lot of knowledge in other than like that for real estate. Like no matter what aspect you are, like licensed or not, investor, like whatever, you just, knowing how to help get through that is excellent. So Nick, you have been doing this for 3 years. So I assume that you got into this. Is this your first career right out of school?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
When I was in college, I got my bachelor's in economics and finance with a very gung-ho mindset that I was going to become a financial planner and a financial advisor. It was very short-lived, pretty much, we can say. And it was not the right fit for me. I'm very passionate about my own personal finance, but when it came to educating others about theirs and they weren't as passionate about it as I am, it felt more like a job than it did a career and a passion. So I was doing myself a disservice and I was doing my clients a disservice by not giving them my all. But I always wanted to be a part of financial management and like investing and that type of stuff. But I'm way too extroverted to be behind a computer all day. And I came across the mortgage world shortly after I left the financial planning business. And I'm never looking back. It's been a ton of fun. I still get to crunch numbers and guide people through an investment decision, but to also post fun social media content and host fun events and go to coffee shops like me and Amanda did, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's a ton of fun for me to do, and it's a great balance but for my skill set. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
So you were sort of in the area. I feel like financial planning is sort of like aligned, I think, with like how to set up like a real estate business or mortgage lending. I think there was probably a lot of things you could have taken from your previous experience and applied it into mortgages.
Totally. There's a lot of similarities in the business, but there's also a lot of differences too. Instead of me telling people how to manage their debt or their securities or their budget, I'm now educating them on how to best structure a mortgage to make a smart real estate decision and also allow them to continue the other goals they have in their life as well. There's definitely a lot of different commonalities that share between the two industries, but I definitely utilize my approach from financial planning into being like a mortgage planner, if that makes sense too. I'm not just a mortgage salesman. I really consider myself an advisor and someone who can be a reliable resource in the industry. And definitely having that background, not only with my degree, but with financial planning, now being a lender has been extremely beneficial for sure.
That's great. That's great. So Leighann, why did you choose real estate? What was sort of the driving factors that you were like? I mean, there's lots of things you can do in the world. Why were you like, let me buy houses that keep me up at night?
Yeah, for real. Like I said, my husband and I have always loved real estate. We have investment properties. We love buying houses ourselves. I say it's bad when you like collecting expensive things, but with flipping, you sell them. So, I think it was 2018. I could be wrong, but I think it was 2017, 18. I had a friend who really had just had gotten this bug of wanting to do a flip house. And she's like, would you ever do one with me? And at that point, I was home with my youngest two. And they were getting to the age where I could kind of start to think about doing something 20 to 30 hours a week. So she kept looking for houses and she kept bringing them to me. And I'd be like, the numbers don't work. The numbers don't work. The numbers don't work. And she said, I really think I found one this time. So we went into this house. It was a foreclosure. And we looked around. And I was like, you know what? I actually think the numbers might work on this. Like, I like the neighborhood. The house has good bones. It really doesn't need a ton of work. Like, we are so beginners here. It doesn't need like crazy stuff. I actually think we could do this. So I don't know, came home to my husband and was like, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to put this offer on the house. And he didn't believe me. And then like a week later, I'm like, we got the bid. He's like, wait, you bought a house? So that was the start. I mean, that was like the rest is history. We put that house together and she decided that, she was going to do her own thing. I was going to do my own thing. And I continued flipping houses. It was once I had done it, it just fit my personality so well. I love before and afters. I love going in, finding something that needs potential or has potential. And making it come alive. It's kind of the same with coaching. You look at a person, you see how much potential they have and the roadblocks that are in the way. And you're like, hey, if we just tweak these little things, somebody's going to come along and love this house and want to make memories here. And I see that, project after project. And yeah, it's almost like an addiction. You do it, you finish it, and it's so gratifying. You just want to do it again.
You caught the itch, but your partner didn't. So she only did one. So you flipped one house with a friend, and then you were like, "This is it. This is the best."
Yeah, I was like off to the races. I was like, I'm looking for another house. I'm doing this again.
And she didn't flip with you again.
We did not flip together. I think she did one more house, but she's moved on. She is a boutique owner and a coffee shop owner. She ended up opening her own business. That's more her passion. She had one early in her life before kids, and that was really, more her thing. And she excels at that, and she loves it. But yeah, I don't know. She got me into house flipping.
Hey, that's what she needed to do. She only needed to flip those two. I mean, I think we find that a lot in just business in general, right? Like people who kind of like business, and they kind of hop around.
Right.
They're financial planners, they're lenders. You can kind of go. And one of the things I love the most about real estate is how vast it is and how everybody can have a business and find a place where their expertise and their passion can help them, make money and make income. And you said you have 4 kids at home. You got to have a flexible gig to be juggling 4 kiddos.
For sure.
So
I can actually follow up on that. I'm a huge coffee connoisseur. I love all sorts of coffee. Drinking one right now.
nice.
It's actually a huge goal of mine to open a coffee shop in the future. So, Leighann, I might need your friend's contact so I can get some pointers from her. But that's cool.
Absolutely.
Here.
There's a place on the highway down where I sort of like between Denver and where I live, and would be the cutest little coffee shop. I have said that I would love to not do. I don't have a passion for coffee, so maybe Nick and I should connect with this. But I obviously have a passion for real estate and helping agents because I own a brokerage. So I was thinking if I ever go from the cloud space to like a brick and mortar space, I'd want to do a coffee shop instead of a traditional real estate office. So that way, because agents aren't in the office all the time, and then if there's a coffee shop, there's But anyway, I'm loving the coffee shop vibes. We'll have to all meet for coffee sometime. So where's the best place to get coffee from? Like if Nick, the coffee
It's Denver, yeah.
In Denver? Oh gosh, probably Corvus.
Corvus, nice.
Big fan of
Okay.
Corvus. I'm still relatively new to Denver. I've only been here 6 months, so any recommendations you guys have for coffee, I'm more than open to them. I also like Sweet Bloom as well, but the best coffee I've had here that I've purchased has been Corvus, without a doubt.
Do you like to make your own coffee?
Oh yeah, I have a big old roaster in my house. So this is just cold brew. So I was in a bit of a rush this morning, but yeah, I like to grind my own beans and
Where do you
make
like to
that
get
work.
the beans from? Is there like a difference between like the different sort of places that they come from? Like what's the best coffee bean? Like you walk into the store and you're like, that's the bean I need to buy. Like what is it?
Truthfully, I go to Corvus, the coffee shop. They have beans there for sale, and I buy it from there.
Nice. See, Corvus should give Nick some credit or some money or some gift cards or some free coffee because look at
I
this.
should start a TikTok account and become like a Corvus like influencer. But
Good. We were hearing the other day that TikTok is now like 4 a day. If you post 4 videos a day, that's how you can like break the algorithm now. They just keep adding it. So you could.
And Leighann, do you have any favorite coffee shops over in your area in PA?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably not the best person to ask because I'm a tea person.
Okay, well, your favorite tea spot.
Okay, yeah. Convive is one of our local coffee shops. They have great chai. I like spicy more than sweet, and they make it for us that way. My friend's little boutique coffee shop is Koala Coffee Shop. And I feel like my husband really likes 21st Street as well. So if you're in Pittsburgh, 21st Street, Convive, and Koala Coffee and Tea.
Those are the 3 you got to hit up. I got to go visit. I've never been over in that area. What what do you look for when you're looking for a flip? So because you had said earlier before we started recording, you're like, I'm not good with math, which I love because I'm also not good with math, which is why I'm not a lender. Which is why it's great we have people like Nick in the world because I could not. And but what do you like look for when you're like, oh my God, that is like that's a flip I should be pursuing.
Yeah, I think the most important thing when I think about flips is the location. Probably very similar to like what a realtor says. Like, I have to think who's going to buy this house, not like, do I want to live here? And so I'm often not looking for the house for me. I'm looking for it for my end user. So when I go into a house, I think, or a location, I think who is buying here? We have a couple of neighborhoods in Pittsburgh that I really like because they're either up and coming or they are established and still super marketable, but reasonable for me to get into the market because I'm not using lending or hard money. So I will just kind of go into that neighborhood, know who my end buyer is. Like, is this a millennial? Is this a young professional? Is this a family? Is this a couple moving out to the suburbs because they're about to have kids? If I know who that is, then I can make the house functional for them. I can make it look great. But again, like, is it Pittsburgh is super hilly. If you've never been here, it is super, super hilly. So is this really high on a hill? Is it too steep? Is my buyer going to like that? Is that going to bother them? And really, the houses have to feel good to me. I know that sounds weird, but I think realtors would agree. Most buyers, when they walk in, they either feel good in a house or they don't feel good in a house. So if I walk in a house and it just doesn't feel good, lighting's a big thing for me. If it doesn't have good natural lighting, I typically don't buy the house because I don't feel good in it. So if I know my end user and I feel good in it, I typically can do a good job on the project.
That's great. How many houses do you think have you flipped in 5 years?
In 5 years? That's a good question because I've also done renovation projects for some contacts in my area who knew I was flipping. So I come in and do projects for them. I'm on my, I think, 8th.
Wow, that's so. I think we assume. I think the number one downfall when people are looking into any sort of career in real estate is they think that things are really quicker than they are. And like 8 houses is a lot to do in 5 years. Like that is a lot. Like flipping a house is not. I think HGTV and those shows have sort of deceived us in the way where we think things happen a lot quicker than they are. Than things sort of go. What is one thing? We'll go back to Nick and then back to Leighann. What is one thing you wish you had started doing in your business sooner? Like, what's one thing that really started helping you kind of accelerate along that when you you're like, oh my God, why didn't I begin?
Good question. I think for me personally, I've always wanted to do my own thing, be my own boss, be entrepreneurial, have my own book of business. I've never wanted to work for somebody else. So truthfully, just getting started earlier. I started in 2021. I wish I started in college or right when I turned 18. Who knows what additional 4 years would have entailed, but at the end of the day, I'm glad I started 3 years ago and haven't compared to not starting at all. So I guess that's the only thing I really can say. And I'm always open to try new things and seeing what works. So, but yeah, that's probably the one thing I'd say, just not starting earlier.
Great. What about you, Leighann?
Nick, I wish you would have taken longer with your answer because I am trying to figure out what I would have done differently. I am a big advocate of learning, so I wish I had a really sweet answer right here. But I think with the timeline of my life and the way I fell into it, it'd be hard to know how to do it differently.
Well, just what do you wish you would have started doing sooner? Like,
Yeah.
you started like, like what was there any like sort of aha moments, I guess, in your real estate career that you were like, oh, some sort of clicks that you can share?
Yeah, I would say this on the investing piece. Flipping for us is a little bit differently, but what I would have done differently with investing is maybe not sell all of the houses that we had bought. And then when we moved, we have some that were like, man, we really should have kept that, especially the location they were in. But when you're young, you think I got to sell this so I can get the equity out of it to buy the next thing. And that long-term game is hard to think about. But yeah, maybe we should have taken it a little slower and really kept some of those places because now they're in amazing locations because maybe a train's, we used to live in DC, a train's come out to where they were, they're worth way more. But
so you had purchased, so you had buy hold investments in DC before you moved?
they're on the other side of Pennsylvania, but yes, okay. We have other investments away from us.
Great. What year did you guys start investing in real estate, if I can ask?
Yeah, so we started, when you mean not buying for ourselves, you mean when like getting a house that we actually bought as an investment.
Oh, buying
somebody else was gonna. We started buying for ourselves in '99. We graduated college in '99. We bought a house, a condo that fall, and then just kind of successfully in succession. We bought houses. Went from a condo to a townhouse, from a townhouse to a smaller house to a larger house type thing. As far as rental units, we bought our first rental. My first was born in 2004. I think it was 2003, probably 2003-ish.
So did your first, so that was your first rental that you bought in '03. So 99, you started just buying property to live in. Is that what helped you be able to jump into purchasing rentals then in 2003? Like, would you have been able to buy a rental had you not purchased in 99?
I think we would have. My husband sounds like a lot like Nick. He's very financially savvy. He's really big into saving, a portion of our income. He's very into investments and doing it wisely. And so real estate was on our radar. My parents were in real estate. My dad was in real estate for a time. So we were exposed to that. His mother got into real estate for a while. So we were kind of exposed to that idea of buying multi-unit, buying a duplex or buying, like, our first was, a 3-unit, that kind of thing. It was already in our mind, like that was a good place to put our money, because real estate over time, what studies show is real estate over time is really one of the best investments you can do. So because he's kind of that way anyway, and I already loved real estate, it just was a natural fit for us at a young age.
That's great. I'll pop over to Nick for this question then. So, what is your favorite client to help? Like when you've got someone who needs to buy a house, like, do you like to do the first time home buyers? Do you like to help with investors? What is kind of your favorite to plan? If you have to plan a mortgage and it's your favorite mortgage to plan, what is that?
Perfect timing on this question, by the way. My favorite client to help is my friends and family. I have a friend who is a financial advisor, actually. Didn't work in his branch, but obviously him and I are well connected through that. Literally, I haven't spoken to him in probably 2 or 3 months. Calls me last night and he's like, "Hey Nick, trying to buy this house in New Hampshire. It's where he's from. Can you get me pre-approved right now?" Yeah, sure, of course. Got him pre-approved. Makes great money, great conventional buyer, and yeah, we're submitting offers this weekend on a couple properties. So my friends and family for sure. But if I had to really put it into like a category of like first time buyer, investor, whoever, me being 24, I naturally click really well with the first time buyer because we're at a similar age range. But I've also developed a niche for investors too. Amanda, I told you that a couple weeks ago too.
Yes, you did.
I work really well with house hackers, people who want to purchase Airbnbs, flat out investment properties too, short term, long term rentals. So I guess my niche for sure is the first time buyer and also the investor as well. And I've helped older people downsize. I've helped relocation clients. I've helped divorces. Like I've helped a variety of people throughout many different paths of life. But my all time favorite, friends and family.
Absolutely. That's great. What do you have anything you do in the morning? Do you have any specific morning routine that you guys do, or you just kind of more roll with the punches sort of a day?
I can start. I cannot. This is the most cliche thing to say. This has to be made in the morning.
The coffee.
And,
The coffee.
I say Nick's getting up at 5 a.m. roasting his beans.
Yeah, he took.
I love it.
The girlfriend wants to kill me each morning, but it's okay. And then I go to the gym too. Coffee. I'll answer emails for a little bit in the morning. Have that quiet time in the morning, and then I'm at the gym by 6:30, and back here at my desk by 7:38. So that's my morning every morning, and I love it.
Coffee, gym, emails. I mean, straight to the point, easy.
I'd say coffee, emails, gym,
gym.
Maybe a second cup of coffee, and then yeah.
The coffee just continues through the morning.
I just want more coffee now. Like I was done for my morning, but now I'm gonna go have another cup after we're done here.
I haven't craved coffee in a little while. I'm like, because I've been typically more of a tea drinker myself. So, but I like a good cup of coffee though. I'm like, man, that does sound delicious now that we've had this discussion. Leighann, what about you?
Yeah, I was gonna say there's something comforting about having a warm cup of something in your hand. I think it's the same with coffee and tea drinkers. So I relate to that, Nick. I also like to get up before my kids. Not always. In the winter, it's much harder for me. So I'm often in bed after they're up because they get up early. But I think that it helps me start my day when I also have a quiet time. But typically, it comes after working out. Somehow about working out gets my body up, moving, gets my brain just firing all its pistons. It's hard for me to think unless I've moved. So something, just moving my body in some way, and then getting my kids off to school, sitting down, having quiet time, having my tea, and then off to the races.
What is one thing you wish you could go back and tell yourself at the beginning of your year? So 5 years ago when you began to flip, or then Nick 3 years ago when you made the transition from financial planning into lending, what is one thing that you wish you could go back and tell yourself?
It's another good question. I would say don't always say yes to things. Say yes to the great things. Say no to the average or not so average things. When you're early on in your career and you're trying to like meet as many people as you can and grow your database, it's okay to say no to people because there's a lot more people out there that are going to be really, really good for you and your business and for you personally. I made the mistake of saying yes to too many people, picking up the tab too many times, and not seeing that return. So don't be afraid to say no to people. so you can say yes to the really, really good things that'll excel you forward.
That's great. That was a good answer. Oh my goodness.
I
Leighann?
love it, actually. I think for me, it would be trust your gut. And I don't mean this in a way of trusting your feelings, because I think your gut and your feelings are two different things. I'm a big questioner of feelings. Yeah. But I think for me, when I go in and I find a house, there's often times where like I don't show my husband the house anymore before I buy it, because he's not a visionary, but he's super good at a lot of things. I actually love him and admire him in many, many ways. But our skill set is very different in seeing potential of homes. And so I will go into a house and I'll be like, this house is amazing. And he would be like, you're never going to sell this house. And just having the doubt creep in, I'm like, oh, should I buy it? Should I not? Every time I've trusted my gut, I've sold the house. I've sold it and done fine with it. Same with decorating it. I go back and forth because it's not for myself. I really have to think about that end buyer and really be in the know about what they're looking for. Instagram is great. Like, what are these people liking? What are they following? What are they liking? Do they want a dark floor, medium floor, white cabinets, color cabinets? Like, what is the trend right now? And not necessarily the trend, because I want it to be timeless, but what feeling are they looking for, so I can give them that feeling. And I also really tend to be like, oh, are they going to like this? Are they not? And my sister is like, why are you asking yourself this question again? You do it every time. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. And so knowing your skill set and being like, this is my skill set. I need to trust that this skill set is going to take me through, because it's, been able to do it before, and trusting my gut and just going with it.
Both really great answers.
Yeah, fabulous. Trusting your gut and learning to say no to things, and totally about the beginning of your career. Like, I can totally relate, and I'm sure Amanda can, and everybody who's been in this, like, you say yes to everybody. You get in real estate and everybody's like, oh,
You need to eat. You're like, oh my God, I need to buy groceries. Yes, yes, I'll work with you. Yes.
I think there's something really powerful though in laying down those boundaries, like on this like energetic level though with your business. And when you're like, no, this is what I'm doing, and I say no to those things, you automatically get more for what is aligned to you, coming to you, even though it feels very counterproductive. It feels like I'm saying no to these opportunities. If you're actually just focusing your energy on what's the best opportunity for you, because there are endless opportunities in real estate. There are properties that buyers buy, first-time home buyers, that Leann's not going to buy. There are properties that Leann's going to buy and that first-time home buyers aren't going to buy. And there's a place for both of those things to happen. And to be, I absolutely, wow, what a great episode. So, Leighann, where can people find you if they want to connect with you? Do you have a website? Do you have socials? If somebody wants a Leighann special house, the next beautiful project out in Pittsburgh.
Or some life coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. Life coaching for sure. Everybody needs life coaching. I mean, you should have a plethora of calls after this, because we are real estate professionals. We all need help.
I need help. Girl, if you need to talk through some stuff. I am terrible with marketing myself. I'm terrible with keeping up with stuff, but I am on Instagram. I do answer DMs. So I am just my name, Leighann, Marquiss, Marquiss is my handle. I do have www.leighnmarquiss.com, where you can find a lot of stuff about coaching, anything you'd want to hear.
Awesome.
Nick, where can we find you? Where do you write loans? You're based out of Denver, but you could do all over, right?
Yeah, so me and my team we have a variety of states we can write loans in: New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts, Georgia, Tennessee, Kansas, Missouri, Texas, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, California, Washington, Oregon, Wisconsin. Yeah, hopefully to have some more states here soon. But and Montana and Wyoming too. But my Instagram handle, Nick White 1. On Facebook, it's just Nick White, and then TikTok and YouTube is Nick White Mortgages. So give me a follow there.
Great. Thank you guys so much. We'll wrap up episode 12 of Real Estate Den. As always, Megan from the San Luis Valley and Amanda out in Denver. We'll see you next episode.